Welcome to PredWings Podcast, where Smashville and Hockeytown collide. And now your hosts, Rhett and Ron White and D-Law, Dan Lawless. Welcome back to PredWings Podcast. Seems like it's so long since we last had the show. Episode 116.
It's only been like a little bit.
About almost 2 weeks, I think. But we're finally back. Our social media, PredWings Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. X is at PredWings Pod, and we're always on Podbean where you can listen to us live. Follow us on there and email us at predwingspodcast@gmail.com. And I guess I don't really have anything, just typical busy stuff. I don't really have anything before we can go into the Beer League Minute. Anything new with you?
No, not a whole lot. Shoulder's still bugging me.
I guess no hockey for you.
I might need surgery. I got to get like a nerve study done. So that's going to be fun.
You said that 8 years ago when we were playing.
I know I put it off, and then I was going to do it, and then COVID happened. Then I never did it. Then it started bothering me again. So now I went back, and now they want to do a nerve study. So
actually, before we get into it, just wanted to make something came up in my memories today. 11 years ago, I was in Nashville for Predators and Penguins game, and that time I had a little interesting. The moving sidewalk in Charlotte Airport was kind of on fire that time, that trip, and.
So what happened?
That was
Did they have to?
I don't know. It was on fire when when I got in there. When I landed. Well, actually, I think they had put it out. I didn't never really seen it on fire, but they had everything blocked. And all I remember is I was like, "Oh God, does that mean the flight's gonna be delayed?" And I think the flight was delayed, but I did end up making it to Nashville for the game. I don't remember if they won or lost. I don't remember, but. I just thought that was kind of funny. Not 11 years ago, jeez.
I do enjoy Nashville. That is a good time.
I need to go back there again, but
me too.
Look, just before we get into the Beer League Minute, I just want to have a little break here. Sports fans, tune in to Sports with D-Law every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. live on YouTube as D-Law breaks down all the latest sports news and stories. Follow and subscribe on YouTube at Sports with D-Law, and don't forget to find us on Facebook and X at Sports with D-Law. You don't want to miss another exciting episode. And I don't want to get into too much, but we talked about an incident that happened that we'll be talking about later in this show. But I actually got another thing to break down this week, but we'll be going over that later in this show. So we got a lot of recaps to go through. We'll try to keep them quick, and then we got a couple big stories that I guess I don't know if you call it stories, events that happened during two different games, and that we want to spend our time with. So, with that said, let's jump right into the Beer League Minute. Well, I got two games. I'll be pretty quick because it's basically the same old. Going to the 16th game. Same old result. It was a loss. 5-2 loss. But it really wasn't. I mean, it was I know I gave up 5 goals, but
Oof.
it, it was the best game I played all season. I made some really good saves. I played really good. Just the goals went in off of just I don't know. I
The
mean
hell was that noise?
that I don't know. Just a
No,
sound
you have to
effect.
listen.
I didn't hear anything. But anyway, so still winless. Going back to this past week's game, Thursday night, team we probably should have won, but I think I said that a couple different times. I don't even remember what the score was because I kind of lost track because I wasn't bad, but that was for the refereeing. The refereeing was absolutely. I mean, it was just. First of all, they called a goal that never went in, hit the post, never went in, and they called it a goal. Second of all, they missed at least a couple penalties on the other team. One of them, they missed a penalty on the other team. It was an obvious trip, and then they were outside, and they scored, but it was out. Well, I was yelling it for a penalty, but it was also outside, and obviously they counted a goal. So, and then they finally called
So
a
the
penalty.
refs did you in again, huh?
Oh, that I don't
Yeah.
complain about the refs very often, but they
I know
did
every
these were
game you've made a comment there, D
these
Law.
these were the worst refs I've ever seen in any beer league I've ever played. I mean, the refereeing. I mean, it's a 10 o'clock game on a
Was it the
Thursday night.
bearded lady?
No,
Okay.
I had never seen these people before. But I don't know. It was just. I hope we don't have those refs again because and
You could have done better.
I was yelling at them
Could
and
have
then
done
one ref
better.
said, well, I don't remember what I was saying, but then the one ref skated over. Are you talking to me? I said I'm talking about both of you.
Oh.
Oh, I had some nice trips for them. And then every time I'd cover the puck instead of you usually have the glove, keep the puck and I hand it to them. Well, I just either drop it or bat it with a stick, go flying, or send it to the other rink. I don't know. Maybe that was kind of a boneheaded thing to do, but I was
Yeah, you're
upset.
fine.
But I just wanted to. So yeah, it was just a bad loss. I don't even remember what the score was. I think we had like 3 goals, but we're not a very good team. Uh, Maybe we'll get a win eventually. But speaking of getting a win, I think let's see. I have 6 games to do. You have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 as well. So
I'm not. I don't want to dive like too deep into all of them.
I'm
Um,
yeah. I'm not. I mean, I'll probably briefly mention. Talk about
I'm going to talk about a few of the bright
some of the
spots. I'm
games.
going to
But
talk.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna go into details.
Yeah, and I'm just going to kind of breeze through here, starting with Florida. Now that was a big win for Detroit. I think that was a win that kind of started showing a statement. That's when a lot of people were starting to get excited. Um, the Wings are playing some pretty good teams, and they're holding their own as a young squad. I mean, um, you've got Emmett Finney out there. Um, even like the likes of Raymond and Sider, like these guys are all young. Like the Red Wings are just. I should take it back and say that the Yzer plan. I kind of see where it's going now. I bashed it. I questioned it. I did all kinds of things, and I kind of see where we're at. I don't think we're going to be a playoff team. I'm not saying that, but I see that we have the pieces now that are going to really help push us to that next level. Like some of these guys are really coming in and blossoming, like Edvinson and Even Berggren's playing all right. Um, yeah, the Wings come out. They win 4-1. Patrick Kane gets a big game-winning goal to kind of get the monkey off his back. Staying in Florida, the Wings head over to um, Tampa Bay, and this is a team that like historically Detroit
That
just
was
does
in
not do well
Detroit.
with. It,
Those were
er,
home games.
right, they were home, or I shouldn't say staying against Florida teams, um, but it was a pretty offensive game. Both teams had a lot of pressure. It went into overtime where the Wings ended up winning it, and it was none other than Dylan Larkin. That was his third of the season. But it was nice because talking about youth, Axel Sandin Palika, he got his first of the season, which was assisted from Larkin and Mason Appleton. So that's nice because he's a defenseman that's coming in. That's an area that we've really struggled, and we it's nice to get some scoring out of him. But then here comes the downfall. Playing against a team that he should beat, and I'm not going to knock Buffalo.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to knock Buffalo because they had some injuries,
They're
and
starting to put it together.
they're starting to get their
Oh,
players back. They have Colton Ellis who played the lights out against
you
the Wings. I mean,
though they had
he
the
kept them in.
you skipped the Edmonton.
Oh, I did the Edmonton win. Yeah, the Wings
That
went
was a
into
surprise.
Edmonton.
I think that was the last home game.
Yeah, you're right. Um, but
I
but
did.
yeah, so this is
I
where
don't
Emmett
want to
Finney
interrupt.
gets his first. Um, Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I'll add it after.
Okay. Yeah, the nice thing for talking about Emmett Finney and being one of our budding future stars, he gets his first in this game and his second being an empty netter. But the kid's showing a lot of promise. He gets to those like I don't want to say the dirty areas, but he's down in front of the net. That's where all of his goals are coming from. He gets himself in position. He's in the net. He's crashing the net. He's going there, and he's getting rewarded. I mean, he's playing great hockey, and that is what I would love to have seen from Michael Rasmussen. Um, but he's a big body. You don't see that. But Emmett Finney's having a good start, and Detroit in this game they kept the pressure the entire time. Like they didn't give McDavid any space at all. They didn't give Draisaitl any space at all. Although Draisaitl did have a goal, um, but the Wings just held them at bay. Like they competed. You could see how they skated, and they played a great game. You said you had something to add, D-Law?
Well, I just want to. I seen a couple of their games. Obviously, the ones that they played with the same day as the Preds, I would watch usually like the first period till the Preds started, and or unless the Preds were on the East Coast. But in any case, they had that 5 game winning streak after that Montreal game, and they looked really good. They played as a team, and and then I don't want to burst your bubble with the other ones, but actually I'll add that after your ones. But so
After the next ones?
I'll add at the end.
Yeah. So Detroit travels to Buffalo, and they just looked out of place. I mean, I will say again, Detroit threw 31 shots on a rookie goaltender. He absolutely robbed DeBrincat. The
They
kid's
got
got
rookie.
promise. Colton Ellis, yeah, the kid's gonna be all right. I think the kid's gonna play very well.
I think the
Um,
Blues are wishing they didn't waive them.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's. I mean, he's 20.
I think it
Forget what
was
they
like
were saying.
25. I think they said. I think they
Let's
said he
look.
was
Let's look
25,
it up.
which for a goalie that's
Yeah, this is his first.
young.
That was his
I mean,
first
unless
game played.
they're really, really hot,
I mean, he played against Detroit, who was a hot team, and he shut them down. Um, he is 25. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think this. I liked him. I liked the way he moved. I haven't watched him play since, but in that game, he is the reason that the Sabres won that game. Detroit kept the pressure. They had so many golden opportunities. And I don't think Detroit necessarily lost this game because they didn't try, but I think Colton Ellis played that good of a game. I do think that the Red Wings, put themselves in bad position by, committing penalties. They just three, four, five. They had five penalties this game, and you're just not gonna, your odds of killing off five when you started off okay last year and then kind of fell off at the end. You can't put yourself in that position. But things get even worse on their back to back. I mean, they did get into New York at 1 a.m., so you got to cut them a little slack for that. But they head into New York. They got there at about 1 a.m. and they outshot the Islanders, but they didn't have scoring opportunities. I don't know if that makes any sense. But the Wings just played awful. Awful. 7-2 loss, like a complete meltdown. Todd McClellan was not looking too pleased on the bench. Um, yeah, it did not look good. Outskated, out hustled, couldn't clear the zone, turnovers, like just the things that you just can't do. You can't do those things and expect to um win games. But Emmett Finney gets another point. Um, he's again. He's as of right now, as of the end of the Red Wings game tonight, um, which would be um, Detroit and the Blues. Emmett Finney was at the top of the points leaders for all of the rookies. So the kid had another goal tonight. Uh, Tonight the Wings just they came out flat,
Oh,
absolutely flat.
oh my god! I was watching the first period, and I was thinking, did they even show up? Because I
Power
mean,
plays. They're
they
giving up
just
penalties. That's killing
they
them.
well that they were in their own zone. I saw the first period before I started watching. The Predators came on at 8, and they just the Blues were just all over them, and they couldn't get out of the zone, and and that resulted in at least one goal. It was 2-0, I believe, after one, and yeah, and I didn't see the Islanders game, but I saw the Buffalo game, and or at least part of actually I think I did see almost all. Anyway, I was watching the Buffalo game, and they didn't look good at all. I mean they had, like you said, they had some. They just couldn't beat the goalie, and it, it, he actually that was only his game. They Buffalo played Toronto twice since the Detroit game, and Lyon played the first Toronto game. He won, and then Ellis was a scratch in the second one. I don't know if he was a scratch against Toronto, but he didn't play in that one. So that's the only game he's played so far for him. So I don't know what's going to go on with him, if they're going to keep him or send him down to minors. I If they do that, they'd probably have to clear waivers. So I don't know, but in any case, the Wings just in those losses that I saw them play, they didn't look good at all compared to, like I said, when in the wins they were playing as a team.
Yeah, and and the thing with tonight's game that I really liked is it felt very Scotty Bowman like, and the reason I say that is there was a little bit of fire. The game was out of control after the first and second period. Like halfway through the second period, it was 4-0 for St. Louis. Like they just Detroit looked lost. Two of those goals were power play goals. Again, just can't take the stupid penalties. It kills them. But McClellan calls a timeout. He regroups the team, and
I was
he,
gonna say, what did it say in the intermission? But it was that must be the timeout.
um, but yeah, they needed to call a timeout because they were getting outmanned, and he had a few choice words. He looked a little passionate, and next thing you know, Johnny Burgers comes out and gets a power play goal, and that just set the world on fire. Emmett Finney gets his fourth of the season, just keeps him climbing up that rookie of the year Calder chase. But again, his goal, he puts himself into a spot where you know who he kind of reminds me of, and I'm not comparing him to this person, but the way he plays and sees the game is, to me, it's a lot like Sid Crosby. Because if you remember Sid when he was young and new coming out, he would get down onto that far corner and just he'd get the easy cleanup goals. Like that's where he scored a lot of his goals, was down in the dirty areas. And Emmett Finney puts himself in that position to do that. So again, the kid's having a great, you know, just a great comeback, or not comeback, but a great start to his career. And uh, comeback was regarding to Alex DeBrincat. He has been in a slump. The Wings, I think they're 9 games in, and he's done like nothing, and he's had to get that monkey off his back, and he
But
finally does it tonight. Finally,
he's leading. I think he's tied in assist team with assists with Larkin with 7 entering tonight. I think they said. But I'll take credit for that one because he's on my fantasy team, so that's probably why.
yeah, I mean it could be, but um, but yeah, I'm happy. The Wings are, they needed that win big. They got St. Louis coming back
Yeah,
up.
yeah, especially since their next home game is until the 7th of November, so that's like almost 2 weeks. And their next game is against St. Louis, but it's not a true home and home because St. Louis has to play Pittsburgh in between.
But yeah, so I mean that's where we stand with the Red Wings. I'm very pleased with where they are. I wish they would be a little more physical, um, but again, I'll take it. They're playing good hockey. I can't be upset with what they're doing. They did look. I mean, they lost 2 games there in that stretch, and those were the only 2 games that they looked terrible in. I mean, just terrible and terribly lost. Every other game they fit, they flowed, they competed. So again, you're not going to win every game this year. A couple of blips in the road. McClellan's got to regroup them. He did that tonight. Went out and got a 6-4 win after being down 4-0. 6 unanswered goals. That's how you rally a team. McClellan is the guy for this team, and I see him taking this rebuild and hopefully taking it to the next level. Because as of right now, he's getting some production out of his young guys, and that's what you want to see. I mean, obviously Larkin's doing his thing. DeBrincat finally gets the monkey off his back, so you're starting to see those things, blooming. But yeah, so not a terrible stretch of hockey, just a couple of terrible games, and I'll leave it with that. Turn it back over to you, D-Law.
All right, so Preds left them. They were on their road Canadian road trip. So I got Toronto, and they looked okay despite the 7 goals, and they played decent enough to win. But then you look at the 7 goals against and say, how can they play good enough to win? They give up 7 goals. But 2 were deflected off of the Predators, which is a recurring theme this year. It seems like almost, I don't want to say every goal that goes off them, but they've got an awful lot of own goals. Um, but they fell down 2-0, and they battled back to tie it at 2. But then Toronto called that timeout, as you mentioned. Detroit called the timeout, and there's just something about that because after that timeout, Toronto just took over the game and grabbed the momentum, and Predators couldn't get it. And they did fight till the end, but you know, um, Toronto ended up with 2 empty net goals. So there's I said that, 7 goals against, 2 were empty net goals, so really 5 goals, but still, I mean, and you can argue that four of those 7 goals, obviously counting those 2 empty net goals, and then the 2 goals probably shouldn't have happened, but that's hockey. That stuff happens, and you gotta just fight through it. But it's I I want to point to that timeout in that game where the momentum changed, and the Preds could never get it. And Toronto is a strong team, and so then they move on to Montreal, and uh, again they played good enough. They had 2 leads in this game, but they couldn't close it out. This is a game they allowed the tying goal with 22 seconds left, and so won in overtime. So the Preds were 20 seconds away from a win, and then they gave up the overtime goal with 3 seconds left. I mean, yeah, you got a point, but it's just frustrating. And it's kind of funny thing in this uh during the first, must be in Montreal, most arenas, the locker rooms are like right off the benches, so they don't have to leave they don't have to go on the ice. But in Montreal, must be the visiting team has to go on the ice to get to the visiting locker room. Uh,
Yeah, that's correct. The Bell Center. It's always been that way. It's crazy.
that's well, I guess it's old now, but it's a fairly new one compared, maybe in the '90s, I think. So it's probably 30 years old. I'm not sure when it was built, but anyway, the Svechkov was uh, watching on the iPad on the bench, and he looked up, realized that everybody was in first intermission, and of course, during intermission, they had the youth players out on the skate, and he had to like skate through all the youth kids. I thought it was kind of funny. um, so then they obviously then they finish up the road trip in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's they're a good team this year, and but the Preds ended up with an early penalty, and that kind of doomed them in. They couldn't get you know they took that early penalty, and then they just couldn't get anything going after that, and the Jets were just too strong and took the play to the Preds and come up, they beat them 4-1. Saros was probably their best player in that game, even though they gave up 4 goals. That's not saying much when your goalie's the best player and you lose, but I mean that's the hard truth. So then they return home to play Anaheim, who's been kind of struggling. Um, Game they probably should have won, but I called it a bad loss. The Ducks again. The Ducks, it's the same current recurring theme here. The Ducks they control the play, especially in the third period. They only allowed the Preds 2 shots on goal, and that's at home that's unacceptable. I mean the
That's a
Preds
lot of pressure. I mean, that means that puck was probably in your zone for a majority of that time.
and the Preds they're a team that they're more physical now. I mean, I don't know if they're a big team, but they're physical, and they get their goals in front of the net. They're tenacious. They crash the net and stuff. So that's the kind of game that they just they need to
Did they have many
play.
fights this year? I haven't even looked.
They've had at least 1 or 2. They didn't have any in the last couple of games. I don't believe. I think they played. Um, There might have been one in Vancouver. There was I believe there was a fight in the Winnipeg game. I don't remember who it was now. Um, But speaking of Vancouver, obviously this was a Thursday night, so I couldn't see it because I had the late game. So I had my game, which I kind of probably would have rather seen the Preds play than play my game. Although I don't know, I mean it was still fun to play. But anyway, it was a good bounce back game. They actually won this game 2-1, and so um, but they played really good defensively after the Anaheim game, and O'Reilly ended up with a shorthanded goal. So that's kind of good to see, and then Cole Smith, a decent young rookie now, or not rookie, young player. He ended up with a game-winning goal, which is a nice. I think that one was right in front of a little tip shot. So that's where they're scoring their goals, and that leads us into tonight's game. Or yeah, the last game I'm going to do is the Kings game. Oh, what a wild game this was! And but as I mentioned, their own goals. There was two own goals. One went off of uh, I believe it was Nate Haig, who's Yossi's injured now, and not related to his what do they call that, POTS or whatever. I forgot something with his, was it the heart, or he's got that thing that he had last year. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's not related to that. So he's
Murmur.
weak. He's weak. He's week to week.
We,
And luckily it's not related to that. So it must have happened in the Vancouver game. Um, so that's a huge loss. So they didn't have him for this game. So Nick Hague is given, that tonight was actually his first game. And he had a goal. He had one
and
go
it looked
off.
like really quick. You've had 6 fights.
Okay, well I guess that's not too bad. Um, and then another goal went off of, well, it was it was a good shot. I forgot who it was now. The Kings. He was like almost like a no angle shot, and he just threw it in the net. And Saros was trying to get back in position, and it was going to go through the net, but it hit his skate and went in. So two own goals, but the Preds, it was back and forth. Preds had a lead, and then the Kings came back, got a lead, and then the Preds tied it up, and then they went into overtime. They gave the Kings two power plays at the end of the third period. Preds penalty killing has been very one of the best strong parts of this um, best of the season probably for them. They killed them. I think they killed off all the penalties this game, and they had two late penalty kills they had in the third period, and one was like really late. The Kings actually started overtime on a power play. Preds killed that off, and then they actually ended up with a power play in overtime. They couldn't score on there, and the Preds power play. I mean, the Kings penalty kill is bad, but the Preds power play is even worse. They're 32nd, and that's got to change. I mean, you got some good players on that power play: Stamkos, Forsberg, Marchessault,
Yeah, something's broken.
Yossi when he's
Something
injured.
doesn't
That
feel
power
right.
play just. I mean, they're getting their looks on the power play. They're just not. It's. I don't want to. I don't like to drink it. You know, as far as he just had some bad luck hitting the post and shanking on a couple shots, and they showed him earlier, and but I don't it just I don't know. I mean, this power play last year, the power play wasn't that good. I'm luckily the penalty killing is really good, but yeah, to be I believe they're dead last, 32nd, right? There's 32 teams.
Yep.
Um, so it just so anyway, this they could have won it in overtime on the power play, and the power play just absolutely terrible. That needs to change in a hurry. I don't know what the answer is. I think I'm wondering if I mean they got two power play goals, but I'm wondering if maybe it's one of those things where if once they get a go power play goal, it's just gonna like spark and they're just gonna. I don't know, but in any case, it went to a shootout and it went 9 rounds.
That's an
Nine
exciting.
round
That's an
shootout. I
exciting
mean,
end of the
the,
game.
the Preds end up, they had a shootout lead, and then the Preds or the Kings end up tying it, and then the Preds, and well, Perry didn't score in the shootout, thank God. Fiala didn't. I don't. I don't think he scored. No, he didn't score. But anyway, I forgot who got the last shootout goal, but for the Preds, um, but the Preds ended up winning in a shootout. So 9 round shootout. So and it ended with a Starl save. So uh, yeah. So that was that was a wild game. So um, they gotta go right go right back. There's still at home tomorrow night. So they got a quick turnaround against Dallas, and but but yeah, and then so that was their third home game of this five. So and before they go to well, that's in mid-November when they go to um uh the Global Series, but that's still a little bit off. Um but yeah, that's
Ozzy's a little scrappy player.
oh yeah, Ozzy Wise, but he scored in the shootout as well. So he's I
I was
like
just
him.
watching his fight from the other night.
He did win. He goes to the net too, and so and Matthew Wood, I believe he scored in the shootout. They got some young players that played in Milwaukee last year, and yeah, I don't know if Weisblatt had any fights when he was with Milwaukee, but he was, yeah, I like his game.
Yeah, I get it. It wasn't even really a fight. They both kind
Uh,
of fell. Vetrano shoved him a couple of times, and that was the end of it.
but
It was
um,
after the ref broke his arm or something.
so let's
Seriously.
see. Before let's see. So now let's see. Oh yeah. The trivia question, and now it's going back a couple weeks. I haven't posted one yet. Since this first one, but I will after this. So, you have to listen to the show. Follow us on Facebook. I don't believe I posted the quick trivia question on X, so just Facebook. But the trivia question for this week was which team won the Stanley Cup in 1839? That's a long time ago. Uh, Ottawa Sens, Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Hockey Club, or the Toronto St. Pats? And nobody got the correct answer.
Hold on. Let me try because I didn't want
Well,
to do it.
before I answer, what's your no looking on Google or anything?
I'm not going to look on either one. It's obviously Montreal or Edmonton. You said Edmonton, right?
Ottawa Senators, Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Hockey Club, or Toronto St. Pats?
In 1989,
Eight,
I'm going
eight,
Montreal.
1839.
Oh, 18. Oh my God, D-Law. I'm like all over the place. 1839. No, I don't think it's not the Montreal Canadiens. I'm gonna go with the Montreal Hockey Club.
You are correct.
And the only reason I think I guessed that is because Mickey and Ken were telling a story about Norris, the Norris Trophy, about
Oh,
how he was coaching a team and he coached the Red, like went into the whole history of it. And then they had made a comment about the Montreal Hockey Club and where they originated and how they won the very first Stanley Cup. So, yeah, that's why I broke it down to that.
let me get the next this week's trivia question, and I will post it on uh, social media. Oh, this might be a good one. Which goaltender holds the record for the most career shutouts in the NHL? Patrick Roy or Wah, Dominic Hasek, Martin Brodeur, or Eddie Belfour? And next week we will have the answer. And I will post it on social media after the show.
Very nice,
So,
D'Lo.
so actually, I know we mentioned the McDavid contract last believe show. I think it was. I just wanted to mention real quick. Oh yeah, it was the Eichel thing. As far as Eichel having a more AAV, I think it was what was his AAV now? I don't remember, 14 or
Uh,
something like that, 13.
yeah.
McDavid's his was he had signed a 3-year extension with the same AAV, which is 12.5 million. He did that to allow Edmonton more cap flexibility. So basically team friendly. So basically did it to help the team out. So team player, he obviously that's still a lot of money. He could have got more, but still 12.5 million a year. It's like he's not losing, but it's not like he's not losing anything as far as money. It's still way much money. Um, Obviously, he could got more, but it helps out Edmonton out with the cap and more players, and maybe Draisaitl should. I I'm probably gonna get a lot of heat for this, and I've said this for the last couple of years. I think Draisaitl is a better player than McDavid just because he's better two way. He can do it all. He goals, assists. Um, he's the one that I'd watch out more for. Um, and Draisaitl should be making McDavid money, if not more. So we'll see what happens with Edmonton, and Holland's not there anymore, so they'll probably they're probably going to be going up, because I think Holland was kind of starting to drag him down as far as the contracts and everything, or player. I don't know, but
He's
any
never been able to manage a cap. That's the problem.
and now he's in LA, so we'll see what happens there. LA's got a lot of good players. They got a lot of young players, but um, so I I want to go into the Marchand thing. Um, I just want to briefly, before we go into that, I just want to say, he returned to Boston, and as we talk about this, we'll see why he didn't do what he did, because his return to Boston was after the Buffalo game. Obviously, Florida Buffalo, and Florida Boston. But I just want to say his return to Boston. It was 16 years ago to the day, which is kind of funny. 16 years ago to the day when he debuted as a Bruin. So I just thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
But so as we
And
all,
I wanted it really quick because you kind of segued quick. One thing that I kind of take away from that Edmonton thing, and I'm sorry for taking it back,
oh, that's
um,
I didn't. Yeah, go ahead. I didn't realize
um,
you.
is to me that tells me that like I just feel that McDavid thinks that they've got a shot. Because if you think about it, if he's on a team that he doesn't have faith in, he's taking the money. Like if I'm on a team, it's like, okay, we're a dumpster fire. We are never going to win a Stanley Cup, no matter what, even though I'm the best player, probably arguably in the world. And I'm never going to win a cup. I'm taking the money. I'm not giving you a team friendly deal. You're paying me, or I'm going to go to a contender. Like those are the options. And he didn't do that. He elected to remain on the team and allow them to go out there and get the pieces and try to take him to that next level. And you know, he's got faith. He thinks that they can do it. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the whole McDavid thing. You know, I like when players do that. I think it's nice because it just shows that they're in it to win it. But yeah, that's what I got on that. Go back to Marchand now.
Okay, so Marchand, Florida came into Buffalo. They got absolutely smoked by Buffalo. I think they got shut out. I think it was a 5-0 or whatever. I don't remember what the score was when this happened. But I'm gonna play a clip before this, and then we can talk about it.
Now Darlene hit Marchand over on the far wall. Nothing. And then you could just see his eyes rolling in the back of his head, and he came back, and we had the opportunity to go at Darlene. He did. And still got Darlene's helmet in his hand.
Well, let him keep it there for a while. Make the refs go get it.
He's ripping the straps off it now. He's over there pulling the straps off, threw the helmet back on the ice. You know what? Playing with fire, man. This is good.
Okay. So before we get into the helmet thing, which is kind of funny, Darlene cross-checked Marchand in the back. I don't know what happened. Just something could have been during the game, before the game, earlier in the game. I don't know if they have a history. I don't know if it's something happened earlier in the game, but I don't care. Darlene cross-checked Marchand in the back, and the announcer says it was nothing. It was a cross-check in the back is nothing. I'm sorry, but when you're playing and you're a fighter and somebody cross-checked you in the back, would you have said it was nothing? No, you would have came over there and beat that living, what out of them. Oh! But anyway, so Marchand after and before that, actually before this, obviously there's no video, just audio. So Marchand kind of went, it was more towards the middle of the ice, and it almost looked like Darlene was actually trying to go at Marchand, and Marchand kind of like backed away, kind of like sidestepped him, and then Darlene fell to the ice, and then Marchand pounced on him, and then Darlene turtled, but somehow in the process, Marchand ended up taking Darlene's helmet, and he's got the helmet, and he's talking to the ref or whatever, and the ref's going. Meanwhile, he's nonchalantly got Darlene's helmet in his hand. And then they go to the penalty box, and then he's in the penalty box, and he's ripping the things up, and he throws it on the ice. I mean, that's why he got unsportsmanlike, and then he got fined, obviously, $5,000, and that's why he got fined that money, which is the max for unsportsmanlike conduct. And I mean, I'm not arguing with that. I mean that I just think it's funny. I mean, it's. I just think that we need that kind of stuff in the game. I mean, like like the comedy aspect. I mean, maybe not ripping somebody's helmet apart, um, but just to put it in perspective, that that $5,000 that he got fined, Marshawn's salary per year obviously is 5.25 million. So you break it down per game wise, and he makes like 64,000, little over $64,000 a game. You break it down even further, he usually gets around 23, 22 shifts a game. That Buffalo game, he had 23 shifts. So he made $2,700, almost $2,800 a shift in that game. So it's like 2 shifts he paid for that little incident. So it's like, I don't care. And I saw something after that. I believe it was a comment or something. Somebody was saying he should have thrown it over the glass, throw it into the stands or something, and Marshawn was like, I was thinking about throwing it into the fans, or throwing it into the penalty box on the other side, so he couldn't throw it in the bench. But he's like, I was worried about getting suspended, and the next game was in Boston, and that was his return to Boston. And he's like, yeah, I didn't want to get suspended. I wanted to play that game, so at least he's thinking. So I just thought that was kind of funny. So I kind of hijacked this. I don't know what let me hear your take on this whole thing, this whole Marshawn thing.
No, I agree. I agree with what you were saying, and yeah, I would have done the exact same thing if I was Marchand.
All right, and let's see. So I think that's all we need to talk about the Marshawn thing, because I think this next one, Tom Wilson. I'm kind of undecided. I kind of like him, but I kind of don't. I'm not really a Washington fan. I like Washington, but I'm not like a fan of Washington. And Wilson, I don't. He does some stupid things like Marshawn. I think he's a lot more dirty than Marshawn, probably. I'm not going to compare the two, but I really wish we had a video of this for this show. But they were playing Vancouver, and I have 2 clips. I have one audio clip from the Washington and one clip from the Vancouver. I will play the Washington one first, and then I'll go back to back into the Vancouver, and then we can talk about it. And they're a little over a minute each. Sorry.
Should the Caps score in the final minute?
What a hit by Wilson there.
There's a penalty, too.
Yep, he's going to take the penalty there. A heavy hit in the neutral zone.
Linus Carlson was whispering in his ear all the way to the bench.
Yep, Hedl got hit, and they're not going to like seeing this, because it's been a tough go for Hedl in his career. He's had 5 different concussions, Joe, heading into this season.
Major penalty under review.
Uh-oh. I heard the words major penalty under review.
Yep, Tom Wilson coming in and caught Hedl right in the neutral zone, right at the stripe there after he had passed the puck.
That's not on the head by my look.
No, right in the chest, but it's going to be a stinger for sure.
First look we shared looked like he squared him up pretty solidly through the chest.
Yeah, the question is, was it unsuspecting as the man passed the puck? Here he is passing the puck, and there comes Tom.
You're talking about late?
Yep, there's the question. That's what they're going to be looking at right now. I don't think they're questioning how hard the hit was and where
or
it
head
was.
contact.
Or head contact. They're looking at if it was late and if there was head contact, and that's going to determine what Tom's going to receive here.
After review is determined that it was a good hockey hit, therefore there's no penalty on the play.
Completely exonerated.
Yeah.
Hedl ahead. Whoa. Oh, he got hit.
Hedl got hit. There's a penalty coming up. It was Tom Wilson.
Jeez.
And we know the history of Philip Hedl. Carlson over to grab Wilson. And Hedl is still down on his knees. And of all the people for Tom Wilson to target, Hedl is still struggling here as he got hit in the neutral zone, and there will be a penalty to the Washington forward, but the Canucks hope it's not anything more than that.
I mean, we'll get a review of this, but it looked late and high as the play was going up ice. Oh, you just...
And that is a terrible hit by Tom Wilson.
Yeah, that's got to be a major for sure. I mean, the puck's moved there, a stride, almost 2 strides by Hedl before he's hit, and that's blindside and late.
It was determined that it was a good hockey hit, therefore there's no penalty on the play.
No penalty at all. So they deem it not to be late. They deem it shoulder to torso, I guess. I thought it was late. I mean, that was my issue with it.
Yeah.
I don't think he went head hunting. I don't.
So you got 2 viewpoints in those 2, and I just want to say it might have been late. I'll let your take first.
I like the hit. I like the hit because I like that style of hockey. I love the open ice hits. You got to keep your head up. I like I've said on the show before. Bring me back to the 90s, 80s and 90s. Best hockey I've ever watched in my life. Pre-Bettman, we'll just say that. So I like the hit, but I agree with Vancouver's announcers that I thought it was a little late. Where he hit him, how he hit him, none of that bothered me.
The Washington guys did say it was a little late as well. Too.
I think it was I don't want to say completely avoidable, but I think Wilson had the opportunity to slow himself and not explode. What's his name there?
Hedl.
So yeah, I like the hit. Just I wish it was done with a little bit less of a gap of time without the puck.
And Hedl was a Ranger too, and we all know Washington and the Rangers are big time rivals as well. So they have.
Yeah, what do you think?
So, watching the video, obviously we have the opportunity to watch it in slow-mo and watch it. So watching it several times, it may be late. I mean, the puck, obviously he had gotten rid of the puck. So yeah, it was late. But he was in the process of hitting, and you can't just stop. Obviously, you're lining up, you're going for the hit.
No, but you can slow down once you see the puck is gone.
But can you? I mean, yeah, NHL players are like elite and everything, but
I'm not saying not hit
he was already.
I'm not saying
lining
that.
up.
He was in the process of making the hit. I'm just saying that he could have slowed down the hit and not made it as violent with the puck being gone for so long.
Yeah, maybe, but if you still hit him, it would still be late. I mean, I was actually shocked that there was no penalty. I mean, they called it a clean hit.
I thought interference.
Probably should have been 2 minutes. It was definitely not a 5-minute. And Vancouver said it should have been a 5-minute. I think the Washington guys said no. I mean, I think they were thinking there would have been a penalty. Probably should have been at least a 2-minute penalty, at least for interference. Because obviously he had got rid of the puck. It was a good hit as far as clean, and he didn't hit him in the head. He hit shoulder to torso or heart shoulder or whatever. But I just want to praise the ref, because we're usually hard on the refs, and like I was hard on my beer league refs, but that's obviously a different thing. They don't have I mean, they can go and look at and that's one thing I don't like about. It's nice to have the video review, but then going back like the '80s and even the '90s, you didn't really have the video, the reviews. The refs have to look. I mean, everything happens so fast. The refs are seeing everything in live, so they have to make a decision like as it happens. And they they did the right thing by calling a penalty so they can go and look. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think, but that's the way today's age is with the video and all that. Kind of like in football. But they had to make a decision live. And going back to the video thing, they probably had that in the back of their head. They're like, I have to call that, and then we can go and look. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you call the game it like it used to be, and then if you think in the moment, if you're looking at that play and think that's a penalty, call a penalty. If not, and then you got to deal with it. I don't know what the answer with that, but I just want to mention that the referees are out there watching the play live, and it's like you're seeing these. It happens so fast, and they had to make a judgment call like that without the video, and then obviously, so they had to make the call without video at first, and then they can go and look at the video to just to make sure, whether it's a 2 or a 5 or whatever. But I don't necessarily agree with that part of it. But as far as this hit, I think the rest did a great job. I don't necessarily agree that it shouldn't have been a penalty. I think I don't know who made the call. If it was, because once it goes to review, it's like in, I guess, Toronto or wherever the refereeing thing is, the command center, whatever they call that. I don't know. They're the ones who made the call, probably, if it went to review. It was kind of a lengthy review. But yeah, I mean, I'm good with the hit, but it was late. It was, because obviously the puck, he got rid of the puck, and he probably, I don't know if he saw him coming or if he just, it was one of those bang bang plays where he would just, get rid of the puck that quick anyway. But in any case, the puck wasn't there, and that's interference. It's being a good hit, clean. It wasn't a head hit or anything. So I mean, it was definitely was not a major. Unlike the Vancouver announcers, and obviously teams in that situation probably would have said the same thing. Like, I don't know, like the Predators, if that happened to say Wilson did that to O'Reilly or Forsberg, would I have would I be saying the same thing? Would the announce would the Predators announcers said the same thing as the Vancouver announcers? I don't know. Um, it just I it, it, that goes, I don't want to go into the announcers part of it as far as being homers or not. In Washington, they were kind of. I mean, I think Washington announcers did say it should have been a penalty, but they didn't say anything about a major. Vancouver announcers did say it should have been a major. At least the color commentaries did. But they both announcers, both team announcers said it was late. So that to me, that's interference. And
I agree with that. That I can get down with.
but I don't know if we want to dive into the comment the announcers part of it or what. A lot of teams announcers would be like Vancouver did. But the Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond, who tonight sounded ill, God bless them. But anyway, I don't think they would have been like the Vancouver announcers. 'Cause they're as far as I'm concerned the best announcers as far as objective. They're actually harder on Detroit than they are the other team, in my opinion. And I just think that if that happened in a Detroit game, I don't think you would have seen. There was no way you would have heard Detroit announcers say what Vancouver said. They would have called it. They've seen hockey. They've been around hockey years, and they tell how it is, and they're very objective. They don't. I don't know how they do it, but they don't leave their feelings. And they're
They
obviously paid
announced
by
the
Detroit.
game
They
with
don't.
they announced the game with a little slight bias towards Detroit.
I don't. But I really don't really. I mean, they might have a little bit, but I don't really. I
No, and I
see.
say bias like they get excited when
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
they
obviously,
have a little
all
excitement when the
all
opponent
teams got
scores, but
excitement.
not like. But yeah, I mean, no, they just announce hockey for what it is. Like they talk about both teams, they give stats on both teams' players. Like they're not homers in the sense that we talk about.
And but yeah, I didn't really want to go into that part of it in this incident here with Wilson and
Yeah.
Hedo, but um,
Well, on a side note, did you catch the hot mic in the Detroit Islanders game? Did you
oh,
end up watching that?
I saw the video. I didn't see the game. I was hoping you would bring that up though.
Oh,
Did,
okay. We can
uh,
wait.
did you have the clip? I did not get the clip of that. I
No, I can pull it up.
Look like
You want
it's
to slap
bad.
or cross check?
that wasn't supposed to be on the mic. That was the referee talking to.
But yeah, so the ref they were talking, and he was telling him like that wasn't a penalty, and it was. He had slashed Berggren in the hands, and then gave him a little cross check in the back. Yeah, he must have been mouthing off, and the ref was like, "Hey, which one do you want? You got both. You got a penalty. You can't argue a penalty. You got two. So which one do you want?" It's kind of funny.
Oh, but like I was starting to say, Detroit 6-3 last 10, but they lost before the win tonight. They lost what 3? Was it 3?
I think so.
Because they were on a 5-game winning streak. They're still right there. I mean, they're really playing really well. They're first place in the division, but Detroit's right behind them, 2 points behind them. So I mean, just think
Yeah,
of
I'm not
Detroit.
unhappy.
I mean, you don't like those losses, but just think if they would have played better. I mean,
If it was a more competitive loss, I would have felt better. The
so
blowouts make you really question a lot of things with the team and the roster when things are that bad.
I mean, they are. Yeah, they do it. I don't know how this. I just don't know. I mean, obviously it's early. They played 9 games, 10 games. Most teams. And Montreal's played 10. Actually, the most. They play the most. Them in Boston. Montreal's a +6 as far as goals. The differential between goals for and goals against. Detroit's a +1. But that doesn't really say much for all the other teams. Then, Florida, they're sitting third. They're a -3. So it's you got to play defense, and that's where it all starts. So, I mean, it's obviously very early, um, and it just we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's gonna be a very competitive season. I think there's gonna be a lot of teams vying. And I mean, obviously, find out. A couple months from now how everything pans out, but from the early part of it, I mean, 10 games in, basically 10 games in now. Um, it looks like it's going to be a very um, competitive, divisions and stuff like that. Um, but before we get into the weekly picks, I had mentioned Yossi's injured. That happened. That had to happen in the Vancouver game. I don't know if there's any really other injuries, major injuries.
Detroit's missing Kane. He just started
Um,
skating this week, but that's about it for Detroit, at least that I know of.
okay.
Lower
Yeah, I
body into the
know.
boards.
Yeah, and that's a big loss for them. I mean, it does give the young players, their chance. I don't know who's in his spot. Obviously they gotta bring somebody in place of him. I don't know if it's Finney or if Finney would be in. I don't know. I think
No,
Finney was
Finney's in. He's a first liner.
okay. I don't know
Yeah,
who's,
I'm not sure who it is. I'm not sure, to be honest.
but it's their whoever's it's their opportunity to stay in and grab either be their opportunity to shine or to fail. Either you're going to stay in the NHL or you're going to go back to the minor league. So, kind of like with the Preds with Brady Martin, um, which I do want to touch that. Oh, they did. Oh, okay. So they did finally assign him back to the OHL, the junior team. Um, I didn't realize this, but he can't play in the AHL because he's a junior player. Obviously, there's 18-year-old players in the AHL, but because a junior player, for some reason, they cannot play in the AHL unless they're 20 years old. Not sure why being juniors, they think they're. I don't know if they think juniors are competing with AHL. Not sure, but Brady Martin looked good. I think he played like 2 games, maybe three, two or three. But they did set him. How he scratched, let him watch these games, which was kind of smart. Let him watch. The veterans, and watch the team, and let them soak in and say, what you gotta do and stuff like that. But because they were kind of like unsure what to do because then they have to clear waivers and stuff. So after a certain amount of games, so it looks like he'll be playing. He'll be going back to the Sioux Greyhounds. I'm not sure is that. It's obviously in Ontario. It's the OHL, but is that
Sault
Toronto
Ste.
or
Marie,
okay? So that's around Toronto, right?
Michigan, Toronto, or no, it's
Okay,
like Michigan,
um, okay,
Canada, UP.
okay. But it's in the Ontario League, so and he apparently the Preds broadcasters was saying he was lighting it up pretty good last season. So I don't really have his stats, so it might be good for him. Play another season in the OHL, and he got a little taste of the NHL. So maybe next year he'll make the jump into the big league for good. So hopefully they can keep them and they won't lose them. So they probably won't be calling them up again unless they keep them for good. I don't know. Because I don't see him. Because I think they keep calling him up and down, and then they got to go through the waivers and stuff like that. So that's all the really news I got on as far as the Predators there. So as far as the weekly picks, let's see. We were both right on as far as the Preds side. The Toronto, we were both right. Montreal, we were both wrong. Winnipeg, you were wrong, and I was right. So I did pick a loss for them. And then I was the opposite on Anaheim. I was wrong, and you were right. We were both wrong in Vancouver, and then we were both right on the Kings. So, and then the Wings side, we were both wrong on the Florida game. We must have called losses, right?
Yep.
And then we're both right on Tampa Bay because I don't know what's going on with Tampa Bay. Both wrong on Edmonton and Buffalo, and then I was wrong on the Islanders. You were right. I thought they were going to be Islanders, but I guess Islanders are probably pretty good. I don't know. I thought they were kind of iffy. And then
well,
we're and then well,
they
but
beat
then
the tar off of the Wings.
and then we're both right on St. Louis. So
Let's start with the Wings this week.
All right, that leads us into they got to go to the next
St. Louis.
The next game is
28th.
St. Louis, but St. Louis plays Pittsburgh in between, so it's not a true home and home. So that might be good for the Wings, might be bad. That's on the 28th, so they got 3 days. I don't know if they're traveling now or later. Do you know when? Do you usually? I don't know if they're.
That I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if that really makes a difference, but it might. If they fly into St. Louis and have a couple days in St. Louis, kind of get
acclimate to the time change.
Not that it's not. I mean, it's not even that far of a trip. I mean, it is an hour difference, but it's like it's not that far really. But maybe they'll just enjoy St. Louis and not. I don't know what there is in St. Louis to enjoy. Not like Nashville.
Well, no, not every city's like Nashville, but every city's got their own little thing.
They got a big road trip coming. They got a 5-game road trip. So let's see the 28th. So let's see. Hopefully we can record next Friday or Saturday. So we got let's go down to the 2nd of November just to be sure, in case.
Okay. So I am going to go. So I've got Tampa St. Louis. I'm going to go with the win. I think they're going to come out strong that week or that game. The Kings. I'm going to go with a win. And then Anaheim. I'm going to go as a loss. I don't think they're going to win that. San Jose. I think they can win that game. So that's what I'm going with that. What are you going?
I think they'll beat St. Louis in St. Louis. They did mention that St. Louis can't win at home. They're really struggling at home, and or do I have that backwards? St. Louis was really good on the road and not good at home. Was that right? But is that what they were saying tonight's game?
I didn't hear that part.
I think they were saying St. Louis is not good at home and they were good on the road. But in any case, I think they're going to win in St. Louis. L.A., Washington. I mean, I don't know if that's their first game back on home because I know the Kings are on the road trip. So I'm not sure if they return before that or not. But I think that's going to be a loss. The Kings, they played. I mean, I don't want to judge because obviously the Wings are doing better than the Predators, as far as standing wise. But I just the Kings look tough tonight. I mean, they had the. I mean, I don't really want to base it on because the Preds and the Wings as far as that, but I just being the Kings being at home, um, they're a tough team. They're a really good team, and then Anaheim. Watching the way the Anaheim played the Predators, I did see Anaheim play a couple of teams, and they looked pretty good. Although the one game I did watch, I think they ended up losing. But I think Anaheim tends to be better at home. So I think, and that is a back to back. That's the 30th. Actually, the Anaheim game's on Halloween. So next Friday, so I think that's gonna be a loss for the Wings, and then hopefully we should have a show before the second, which is Sunday, at San Jose, and they'll win that game. San Jose is still struggling. I think they're still going to be competing for the number one draft pick this year. Uh, yeah, I mean they're a good young team, but I just don't think they're. I just don't think they'll win that game. So yeah, there's a 4 games for that, and then on the Predators side, they got Dallas tomorrow. I call that a win, but Dallas hasn't really been playing all that great lately. In the way I think the Preds are going to be. They're lucky to have won this game against the Kings, and I think they're going to be. I just hope they won't be too tired because it's like tomorrow, like at 6 o'clock our time, or I think it's like 6. So it's like 5 o'clock their time or 6 o'clock their time. So I'm going to call that a win for the Preds. And then they got Tampa Bay at home, which is their final home game under the Spy Game homestand. Tampa Bay's they've been kind of struggling. They think they did win tonight, but I still think the Preds are going to win that game. And then they got to go to Philadelphia on Thursday, the 30th, the day before Halloween. Maybe they can scare the Gritty, pre-Halloween thing, because he's definitely a Halloween costume. Philadelphia's a good team this year, but I just had that feeling that they're going to come up with a win somehow. I think they play the same type. If in these 3 wins, I mean, obviously I got to pick a win or a loss. If the Predators can get to the front of the net, where that's where they're scoring their goals right now, right in front of the, and I think that's the whole league, really. But they get to the front of the net, I think they'll beat Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna going back to the Dallas game. I think I'm gonna go with a loss on that. I always feel like Nashville and Dallas play each other very tough, and I just feel like Nashville hasn't quite found their stride yet. So I'm gonna go with a loss in that game. I'm going to agree with you on Tampa Bay. I do think that they're going to win against Tampa Bay because they are struggling a little bit. So I will agree with you on that one. I think at Philly's a tough place to play. They play a different style of hockey. They always have. I think Nashville can match that, but I'm going to give the edge to the home ice advantage of Philly, so I'm going for a loss. And then Calgary.
Yeah, in Calgary they do play next Saturday 11th, just in case. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, just in case.
And that's when they return home.
I think they can beat I think they'll beat Calgary at home.
Yeah, I think anybody can beat Calgary. I watched Calgary against Montreal, and I mean, obviously Montreal's a really good team, but Calgary just looked. I mean, they did. I don't know if they won the game or not, but for the most part of the game, they looked. And this was at home. This was at Calgary. There was actually a lot of Montreal fans there for some reason. That's kind of weird. Being way out west. Way far away from Montreal. But I think the Preds in that's it's weird because it's like they got that 5-game homestand, and they got to go a quick trip to Philadelphia, and then they're back home for 2. But yeah, I'll say I'll call that a win for Calgary. The Calgary game, I'll call that a win. But the should hopefully. I don't know what Halloween's gonna look like, but hopefully we'll have a show on Halloween. If not, it'd be next week maybe. But yeah, there's the picks for this week. So hopefully I'm right on all these. I'm not doing too well right now. I'm 3-6. You're the totally opposite. You're 6-3. So at least on the Preds side. So I need to get my act together. So hopefully I can get a 4-game win streak going.
Good luck.
And I'm the same on the wing side, 3-6, and you're a little better at 4-5. So the Preds better than the Wings. I don't know how. Overall, you got me 10-6. So I got to get going. But fantasy, I beat you the first week. We didn't tell. I forgot to mention that a couple weeks ago. Our first week of fantasy, we played head to head, and I actually ended up winning, but it's not looking so good this week. I got to play the first place team, and I'm losing. I'm ahead now. Wow, I was trailing big time, but I still have 61 of 72 games played, and he's got 56 of 64. So maybe I can come up with a win for here, but
We'll see.
Let's see. You are. Which team are you? Oh God, you're in last. You're 0-2. Oh, I'm 2-0. Oh, I'm 2-0. Yeah, you're
Change
better.
the rules.
You're better in you're better in fantasy football. But I think that's all I have.
Yeah, me too.
Seemed like a long show tonight. Actually, I didn't mention this earlier. I don't know if I want to even mention this. This might have been a few games ago. I don't know if it still is, but Saros, third in the league in save percentage. Let's see if that still holds up. Yeah, that must have been a while ago because he's not even listed there now. Save percentage. Why is David Riddick? David Riddick is on the Islanders. No save Dave, the former Predator. He's leading with Jacob Dobes on Montreal at 940.
Don't you wish you kept no save, Dave, huh?
Yeah, right. I don't know about that. Wow, that must have been a long time ago when he was third in the league because where the heck is Yossi? Or Yossi, Saros is like, what the heck is his save percentage? Hold on, I don't really see it on the. I kind of wish I didn't even put that down there. Let me see what his save percentage is real quick. I don't think I want to look. Oh, 909. 909 save percentage. That's not too good. That's like, wow. He's tied with Stuart Skinner, 21st. Wow. Let's see. I bet you Detroit's goalies. Let's see where Detroit is. Detroit. Cam Talbot, 890. Wait a minute. He's not even the starter.
Yeah,
is
he is. Our goalies are terrible. John Gibson.
He's good in my NHL 24 game. But he's on Anaheim that game. 890 for Cam Talbot. I don't see the other goalie listed. Okay. All right, where's Alex Lyon? Alex Lyon is 12th at 922. I won't even say anything about that. So, well, that's what they didn't. Detroit didn't want him, so. Oh well, I'm not gonna dwell on that.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
But then again, it's a different team too, so.
I'm sure that plays a part in it.
I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, same here.
I think, and I think we are maybe gonna introduce a fight of the week. Maybe next week or coming soon. Maybe.
We'll see. They'll know.
But,
Don't
you know,
shut it yet.
and then maybe we'll post some of those on social media. And speaking of the trivia on social media, that is posted for this week's trivia question, which is again, which goaltender holds the record for the most career shutouts in the NHL? Patrick Roy, Dominic Hasek, Martin Brodeur, or Eddie Belfour. So go on our Facebook or our X. Facebook is and Instagram is PredWings Podcast, and X is at PredWings Pod. And you follow our social media, and you can get these videos. Maybe the fight of the week, maybe coming up, the trivia question of the week, and then you listen to us and to get the answer and see if you're correct. We're on Podbean Live every week, and so don't forget to follow us on there. And email is predwingspodcast@gmail.com. It's another good show, and don't forget to tune in Wednesday nights on YouTube for Sports with D-Law. That's on YouTube. It's at Sports with D-Law, 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights. That covers all sports, not just hockey. And that's all we got for PredWings Podcast this week. Thanks for tuning in to the PredWings Podcast.
Good night, Hockey Town.
See ya, Smashville.